Don't wake me up.
Shalom, shalom.
Don't touch, I've been taking up. Being shown in a vision, curiosity got me stuck.
Shalom, come on in for the update. Shalom, shalom. The stars are falling down. There's terrorists, specters and shit'em. But we have the full armor of the Almighty. Come on. I'm not giving it up.
I'm at the point understanding dreams are the real time. Reason why they wake me up. I try moving on, but my body is stuck. My conscience is raised, an angel pick me up. Awaken from this matrix. Looking down on the floor, blood dripping from his robe. I know he can fix this. I see a burner Rome and our people coming home. Can I please get a witness? I'm not coming down till I get this. These predictions can't be superstition. The decision being shown in the vision. It just ended. Yeah, I can't get it out of my head.
I see the stars are falling down.
There's tears upon my face.
Oh, Maestro mixing. That boy can do some beats, can he? It's my son Azel on the rap there. Giving up. Don't wake me up, no, no. Oh, come on in. We're not giving it up. That's right. I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving it up. Keeping our eyes on the prize, watching from the watchtower as world events unfolds. That's right. I'm Elder Rick Shar of the Gathering of Christ Church here, brothers and sisters. Thank you for your presence. Elder Rick Shar of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly Patreon update. First and foremost, I would like to say all praises be to the Most High, Ahaya, Ashal, Ahaya. And that's the Most High, God, Bahashim Yeshaya, in the name of Christ, Wa Rawak, through the Holy Spirit. I would like to welcome you all to our weekly Patreon update. The world is bracing. The world is bracing for the next event. And of course, watchmen, those in the Word of God, will keep you abreast to what's going on prophetically, to show brothers and sisters in the earth who believe in Christ how to navigate through the madness. Through the madness. A lot of people come to our broadcast, our weekly broadcast, to stay in tune prophetically, according to the prophetic events that are going on current. Understandably so. Even those who really don't like us. But that's okay too. All right. We're not here for a popularity contest. We're here to actually bring forth the word for those who would hear and even those who would forbear. All right. And I know that while teaching the truth of the Most High, the truth in itself will create enemies. Even Paul stated, Have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? But in the reality is Christ died not just for those who would believe in him and who love him and who would sacrifice for, he sacrificed for not just those who believed in him. Okay. He died for his enemies also. So as long as the truth abounds, okay, and the word goes out, our job is done. It's not a popularity contest, okay? It's more about getting the word out so that each individual, each child of God, whether they would ever follow or be a part of the Gathering of Christ Church, would have the opportunity to know that God was speaking to them, warning them, and he gave them due time to prepare for what's to come through servants, through those who would sacrifice their life and put their lives on the line for God's sake, for Christ's sake. All right. So I wanted to put that out there real quick, outright, that people come here, whether they're with the church or not, to get the updates, to find out what's going on in preparation, to prepare real time. All right. And that's our position. OK. All right. All right. All right. All right. I hope everything is good on our side. Someone say there's buffering, but it's good on our side. So, it's good on our side. Okay. Now, before I go into the Patreon, of course, we have a groundbreaking announcement for the Academy this weekend. First time taught in under a round table setting. The satanic divide between man and woman. The satanic divide between man and woman. And boy, do we have some good questions and some good topics to discuss. Roundtable discussions as the Bible is being taught. All right. For the first time roundtable, I'm going to be inviting families in from England. We're going to have a round table of specific families and single brothers and sisters. Also, we're going to have Jew and Gentile, whether it be an Israelite or a Gentile person, to come and give the perspectives on what's going on between man and woman, because it's not just affecting the 12 tribes of Israel. Satan is on a tear. He's working to separate man and woman, which is the image of God, only to destroy humanity. He have taken away tradition, legacy. Okay, and his legacy and duty over personal feelings. And I think the idea of marriage have become idolized, and we're going to talk about that, when really marriage is duty. It isn't what we would call happiness. Happiness is a byproduct that comes from what? And successful marriage through the ups and downs. The happiness is having your name go on and your legacy continue. Through the struggles. There will be struggles on either side, male or female, and our people have given up. And by giving up, we've given the Satanist a lane to redefine marriage. So we're going to talk about that in our this Sunday. Let me see what I have here. I put everything on paper. This Sunday in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. And guess what? We've all made errors and mistakes coming up. All right. When it comes to what we thought a relationship or marriage should be, what a family should be, especially our people coming from chattel slavery. It's to a degree where almost we had to learn on the fly. But there's no excuses going forward. Now that the Most High have opened our eyes, and now through understanding what's required by law, the law of God, we're now responsible. Okay? We are now responsible. Okay? And accountable for our choices. No longer the excuse of how I was raised. That's not good enough. That's not good enough for, to expect a stranger who come into your life to accept that, and it's not acceptable to God. No longer can I say, because of what I went through as a child, someone out there must accept my dysfunctions. Those days are over. So we're going to talk about that. All right. Now, some of what we're going to be talking about this Sunday, I'm going to put it out there before I go into our Patreon discussion. Right? Being ruled in a vulnerable moment. If there's only two masters, when there's disagreements in relationships, when there's an impasse, that's a vulnerable seasonal moment, right? So, whose side do we choose in disagreements? When I say whose side, not between the man and the woman, between God and Satan, who's seeking to divide. Satan comes in at the most vulnerable of times. We're going to talk about that. Right? We're also going to talk about, because sometimes we've all had to learn on the fly, and from each relationship to the next, we finally get it and wish we understood at an older age, right? We come of age and realize that if we had this wisdom, we would have done our relationships better at a younger age. And we're going to talk about that. The struggle of creating a new life after failed relationships. Right? Just what that is. Who's at fault that we don't know growing up how to sustain a relationship? We don't understand getting into a relationship. What the true expectations are outside of the social gathering. Okay, the excitement of coming together. Right? The struggle of creating a new life after failed relationships. Right? We're going to also go into the dynamic a father to lean on to understand a husband when it comes to women. No better man to get counsel from during a marriage crisis than for a woman. There's no better advice that she could receive than from a father. The mother will always be there to coddle her or to be there as a support. But a male perspective she respects is above all, right? Because he raised that girl. He know her vulnerabilities, what makes her happy, what makes her sad. And on top of that, her father understands what? A man's nature. So he's able to give her a perspective without her feeling judged. The importance of her leaning on her father for counsel more so than her mother when it comes to crisis within a relationship. We're going to talk about that. Not to say that one do not hear the mother, but there's a balanced perspective. Okay? You can't just hear one side. It's unbalanced. You have the caring side who's just there just to make sure that her baby is okay. But it's the father who's going to give it to her straight concerning a man's perspective. While still having that care for his little young baby girl intact. So there's a balance, but you need that male counsel before making a decision. We shouldn't make decisions based on our circles. And that's a man amongst his friends, or a girl, or a young woman, or a woman amongst her friends. That's bad counsel. Family is the counsel. We're going to talk about that. All right. And we're going to talk about the idolatry that come with the image of marriage. How when the angels came down and dealt with women, they had this big thing. We're going to talk about that. Where now you're idolizing a moment. And in that moment, you expect the marriage to be on that same level. And guess what? It'll never achieve that moment. And we have people in relationships who are looking to achieve that high that comes with the party. Not realizing what? Exactly. You're setting yourself up for disappointment, because that's not what relationships are. We're going to talk about that in scripture, go into it. And even though, guess what, folks? Coming out of slavery, living in the Western world, which is totally contrary to the traditional values of God, A lot of us have made mistakes. A lot of us are still trying to really make the plane while flying it. Thank the Most High, He has given us the truth that we can begin to have the hard conversations before the war. Before the war. Okay? So that and more will be discussed first time in a roundtable discussion in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, historytimes.org, week 7. Okay? We still have a whole month. We have 12 weeks, so we have almost 2 months of work to put forth with the Academy. So much information have come out thus far. If this interests you, just go to historytimes.org, get in on the discussion. Let's talk about it. And don't worry about it. If you do get into the Academy, which is you would have to, just like any enrollment, you'd have to, pay for the whole enrollment. Well, make sure you get all the lessons that, prior. So you don't have to worry about coming in week 7 and thinking that, well, I'm only here for the last month and a half, okay? Don't worry about that. You get full 12 weeks, even though you're coming in week 7. And also, if you're not available Sunday, it's okay. You don't have to be present to enjoy the information or to obtain the information. We'll give you links. Anytime during the week, you can click into those links to catch up, to get any part of the classes you would want, okay? So don't worry about it. If you have a planned Sunday and want to be there, you can still deal with your plans, be a part of the Academy, and click the link within 24 hours, and you'll be in at that time, okay? So I just want to make sure everyone have an opportunity to get some of this information. It's pertinent information, and at the end, biblical resolve through the Most High, bringing back what? Family, according to God. We've all made error, so let me put that out there. But the Most High has given us an opportunity to get it right, okay? That and more. Now, what will we be going into in a couple of moments? One might ask. All right, let me show you our discussion for today. Our discussion for today. Let me see if I can pull it up right here. I don't know if anyone remember that the John Hopkins Society, along with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, had an event and this was from an international global conference mid 2019 before the happened. Okay, I'm trying to be as guarded as I can. So the topic is the world is bracing for the next big event, right? Well, sometimes they give us an insight of what to prepare for in advance. So in 2019, there was the event 201. We're going to go over that under the Hebrew and Bible. I mean, not the Hebrew and Bible Academy. That's on my mind, actually, but for Patreon. We're going to open up the calls and see how accurate they were in predicting what would happen well before 2020. But that's really not the issue. That was just one of the issues. There's another simulation. There's another simulation that we should be aware of. Okay, this is a fictional scenario. Catastrophic contagion. Catastrophic contagion. That's right. A simulation was done for 2025 that I'm going to discuss on Patreon. Under the same people who did the simulation of Event 201. Okay. And boy, is there some information of what they're preparing for based on what I've gotten, what I've actually got from the John Hopkins website. Okay. They did another simulation of 2025, and I think everyone needs to understand. Now, could it be what happened in 2020 and the result of what people, listen to and follow could be the numbers that we'll see in 2025? Who don't know? I don't know, but we'll see. The other thing I would like to talk about is, and I'm going to go over this a couple of minutes jumping into the academy, how the occultists have come out full circle, to let everyone know that they're Luciferians under Moloch and are seeking to eventually, allegedly, make sure the next generation who survive, the children, are fully under the satanic agendas leading to a one world beast system. Outright in England, Birmingham, they celebrated outright before the Queen died. There was a celebration of Moloch and accomplishing what? You got it. Accomplishing the building, the new technological building of what? The Tower of Babel. So let me just give y'all a little bit of what we're going into and we'll talk about before segueing or transitioning to Patreon. Fair use. A matter of fact, let me do it this way so that there's no issues here. Fair use.
So folks, pay close attention. You're going to want to go look this up. And I give the full details completely documented in the second edition of the Antichrist and Cup of Tea. Here it is, July 28th at the Commonwealth Games, the 22nd Commonwealth Games for 2022. You have these every few years. They've been going on the whole time. The Queen Elizabeth II was queen. It's the largest set of international games in the world after the Olympics. And this year they had 72 nations and territories participating. Roughly, they estimate almost a third of the world's population potentially watching. Okay, the whole British Commonwealth.
Fair use.
At this event, Prince Charles opened it in lieu of the Queen on her behalf. He oversaw the whole thing. He was there in person at the Alexander Stadium in Birmingham, England. Okay. At that event, a giant Molech bull, 10 meters in height, was rolled out into the center of the stadium to be worshipped and to face a large rebuilt right there in front of everybody, mock Tower of Babel with shards in it. And it begins with a star exploding in our solar system. That's how they introduced this. A lot of CGI initially. They portray a star outside our solar system, or maybe deep in our solar system, blowing up past Saturn. And it explodes, a bright star like Lucifer. That's what it is, exploding. And its shards fly through our solar system, and they reach Earth. And they land in all the nations of the Commonwealth. And these 72 quote-unquote dreamers, New Agers, find these shards outside their homes. They retrieve them. The first person to do so is named Stella. She picks it up. It's lit. It's brightly lit. It's like a large quartz crystal that's bright white, lit as bright white, like an interior light, as it were, bright white. She picks this thing up and she prays to it, whispers to it and prays to it. Then she takes this back to her home. All these others, these 72 dreamers, there's 72 of them total, including her, pick their shards up and they take them to their homes. As soon as they do, there are anti-gravity effects in their homes. Things start to float in the air, and then their homes are lifted up off the ground with these people in them, and they float across the Commonwealth from other nations and across the UK, across seas and oceans and lakes and forests and so forth to Birmingham, England, to be over the stadium. All these homes floating over the stadium, and then they land. And the dreamers exit them in front of the audience, and they have the shards in hand. The bull then comes onto the stadium, pulled by slave women, slavish women on chains. The bull, they portray this, rebels and detaches from the chains. And these female slaves who've been driven like by somebody who's kind of like a Roman, a demon, whatever, because he didn't quite look like a Roman, are freed, right? So now the bull and these women are freed, and they pretend they're afraid of each other. And the bull goes on to the center of the stadium, and these quote unquote dreamers, these new agers, encircle the thing. But initially, before they do that, Stella comes with her crystal. She and 5 others, there's 6 of them, 6 of the dreamers.
Oh. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. Everybody, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Y'all ringing me off the hook. Lord have mercy. All right, we'll cut this. We'll cut this so that y'all will actually get what I'm showing forth. Okay. I see it, Jermaine. I see it. I see it. I got it now. I got it. Let's go from the beginning. Let's go from the beginning, and I'll make sure. Let's go from the beginning, and I'll make sure that this is edited. Y'all got me? Y'all have me? Okay. All right. All right. I'm Elder Ricard, y'all, the Gathered Christ Church here. I forgot to hit a button. I'm sorry. I must repeat everything. All right. I must repeat everything for those who missed it. All right. So I'll just repeat everything. All right. Let's start here. Are you all with us? All right. Hit the like button. So let's start from the beginning. Let me tell AC. One moment. Let me tell AC to move Patreon to 2 p.m. I'm sorry, folks. Eventually, we're going to have producers doing all this stuff. 2 p.m. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Elder Dell. All right. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shah of the Gathered of Christ Church. All praises be to the Most High, Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya Warawak, the God of Israel. And yes, we are going into week 7 of our Hebrew and Bible Academy. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, okay? Now, okay, turn the phone off. Now, this week we'll be going into the satanic divide between man and woman. All right? The satanic divide between man and woman. Okay? For the first time, a roundtable discussion in the academy. Okay, single people, married people, we're going to have just a serious discussion. We'll just ask questions based on what's going on within the current, what you would call, landscape of people who are seeking marriage, or whatever the case might be. What are people experiencing dating in the modern day so-called dating landscape? And we're going to give a definition of dating also. All right. All right. All right. The volume. All right. Let me turn that down some. All right. We good? All right. To show you what we'll be dealing with. Okay. To show you what we'll be dealing with, some of the questions we'll be talking about in the academy. All right. We're going to have a point of, when it comes to any relationship, being ruled in a vulnerable moment. The season of vulnerability, which means there's a time in which there's conflict between man and woman, but instead of listening to the orders of God, we more so hear the other master in the room that would have us hate one another. How does Satan come in in times of vulnerability? That's number one. The next thing we're going to be talking about, and we're going to be asking brothers and sisters in the roundtable questions on, right, would be the struggle of creating a new life after failed relationships. Keep in mind, coming out of captivity, some of us had to learn on the fly. We had to try to figure it out as we went on, as we, learned. We learned through the relationship itself, not having guidance from the aged like our forefathers, right? Creating a new life after failed relationships. And the reality is there's really no time to be working on a new life. Okay, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to also talk about when it comes as far as the woman's side, if there's a father or a mentor or a male figure that she respects in her life, which is hard to find within our communities today, but a father to lean on and to understand her husband or her, or the man who she's seeking to be a husband, which means we shouldn't be leaning on our peers or our circle of friends. A woman in particular, if she really want honest advice concerning a man, even her husband, that advice should come from her father. Why? Because the father understands the nature of his daughter, but he also understands the nature of a man. And he can fill in those parts that she probably don't understand. Usually a father, a girl or a daughter goes directly from the father to the husband to pick up from where the father left off. So the counsel for a husband wasn't just the nurturing mother who's there strictly for support. Okay? I need y'all to think about that. It was also leaning on the father's advice to have her understand a man's perspective during those times of divisiveness or disagreements. That's how important that man is. You can't get advice from women when it comes to the nature of a man or the understanding of a man. It's an impossibility. A woman can only tell you what she have done in her anecdotal scenario under those circumstances. But they're still not telling you how men think in circumstances. All right? Women should never get advice from other women unless they're aged women of the Most High. Okay? Who don't have any dog in the fight. Who's willing to give it to her honestly. But getting advice from girlfriends and others on a relationship, you'll lose every time. The father is the key. Go to the father and say, I'm dealing with these issues. This is what I'm dealing with. How do I overcome this? Okay. And he will give you the male perspective that you probably in the midst of those disagreements will not receive from the man that you're at odds with. The importance of a father. The other thing we're going to talk about, we're going to ask questions. We're going to ask women and men, what are the current choices of men or women today out there? What are the current choices when seeking a relationship? What do you have to choose from? And these are going to be questions we're going to just put out there, and they're going to say, well, this is what's out there. I'm going to see if my son can chime in since he's in college and give us some insight on that also. Strictly opinion based so that we can answer it later. We're going to also discuss the fact that when it comes to the idea of relationships, we're going to attack this Disney view of what we thought relationships or marriage was supposed to be. Not realizing that something happened before the flood. Angels came down and dealt with women and took society from its simplest form, village, to honoring or idolizing the moment as a worship to the gods. So we thought that having the party and getting things together, that's such a high, getting so much attention. But the reality, the fact remains, you go from that peak all the way to a valley, because you cannot expect male or female to ever meet that expectation that came with the anticipation of getting together. You'll never hit that high that happened on marriage day, and that was intentional, that they would make that into what? A moment, a gala to be idolized. Man and woman high above all the people in the room. It wasn't like that when we were marrying in Israel. It was a family contract between two families, and afterwards we go on with our lives with what? With the duty for the relationship. The next day they went to work. They dealt with the realization of what they came there for, to build legacy and a name for their family. So people get together and become disappointed because it's such a high on that day, not realizing that day was a day to be idolized, so that you can look at your relationship as a failure, seeking to continually ride that high that came from that day. Most think that it can only go up after that, but no, it's not real. It doesn't get better after that. Things get rocky after that. Things go down after that. Life is really normal and boring. And the true happiness comes with the life you'll develop at the end of it. The happiness comes at the end when you see that your legacy has continued on, and that God was the main purpose for that legacy, for that family. So we're going to talk about that and more. The idolizing that came with the moment that they created, knowing that none of us can achieve keeping a relationship. Keeping a relationship that would give you that same high or attention one have received from that day. And that day alone have harmed more women than men when it comes to expectations, because a woman is looking for a man to keep her on that high, when men don't see that day like that. Okay. Man just want to go on, work, put his head down, and do what he have to do to provide and protect for his family. And it's not about the party and galas all the time. It's about sustaining this unto the end for legacy's sake, for name's sake. Okay, not to continually be there to be someone's muse or to fill in for boredom. Okay. What else are we going to talk about this Sunday? Let's see. What else? We're going to also go into this new thing, we grew apart. Okay, there's no such thing as growing apart when it comes to duty. That comes with the spirit of selfishness. Okay, there's no growing apart. All right. We're going to deal with that. We're going to talk about it. And guess what? We've all made mistakes growing up. Okay. But now it's time to get it right with such little time left. And we're going to talk about that and more this coming Sunday roundtable discussion. The satanic divide between man and woman. Okay. Right? Arms.org. And don't worry about it if it's week 7, but if you come in, you can watch this anytime, Sunday or during the week. You don't have to be there to be a part of it. Okay, if you have things already planned, don't worry about it. You can enroll, and we'll give you a link in which you can still experience the key details and learning experiences that will come from those conversations. Go to historytimes.org, okay? Now, last but not least, right? Go to historytimes.org. Let me tell you what we'll be talking about today. Patreon, when we segue or transition over. What we're going to be talking about today is that in the fall of 2019, there was an event by the John Hopkins Society along with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. All right. There was an exercise called Event 201, where it talked about a global pandemic exercise, as you can see here. Right. And it was what? It was an exercise that was put out there where the news and others would simulate the corporate structure along with news coming together in lockstep in case something catastrophic as a pandemic happened. 2019, Event 201. We're going to look at that today. Why? Because a lot of what this exercise was came into fruition. And who knows, maybe for those who, for those who complied with some of the solutions, maybe that will go into the numbers, who knows, of the next event that's out there that no one has looked at as of now. There's a new simulation from the same people that states this is a fictional scenario. A catastrophic contagion 2025. Okay. And we're going to look at this on Patreon. All right. What is to be expected based on this exercise? So it's out there. This is why I titled this, The World is Bracing for the next event. What is that, and what can we expect coming down the pipeline with these events? What can we expect? All right. So on Patreon, we're going to play these and have you hear exactly what they're in preparation for, so that we as a people, those who believe in God, can navigate through what's coming. And us being watchmen, according to God, hey, we have to tell you what's going on, whether you believe us or not, or whether you like us or not. It's not a popularity contest. Okay? What we're here to do is spread the word, whether you hear or forbear. And no one in the earth, whether you like us or not, can claim, come into our channel. You won't be able to claim that you weren't warned. You're not going to be able to say that God, through the word, using servants, didn't tell me. Okay? So we put it out there because they're telling you exactly what's going on. And I'm going to also start it off with a little bit of this. Right before the Queen of England passed, there was a ceremony / celebration in Birmingham, England. Highlighting what? Highlighting the technological building of the Tower of Babel accomplished. Okay? Bringing the whole world under an order under the order of Antichrist. And mind you, it was Prince Charles at this time. Now he's King Charles. And these people predominantly claimed that they were Christians. But really, obviously, they have duped the world altogether. They were really bringing forth a satanic agenda that would threaten the world, especially those who would believe in Christ. And I'm going to go over a lot of this in Patreon, at Patreon. Fair use.
So folks, pay close attention. You're going to want to go look this up. And I give the full details completely documented in the second edition of the Antichrist and Cup of Tea. Here it is, July 28th at the Commonwealth Games, the 22nd Commonwealth Games for 2022. You have these every few years. They've been going on the whole time. The Queen Elizabeth II was queen. It's the largest set of international games in the world after the Olympics. And this year they had 72 nations and territories participating. Roughly, they estimate almost a third of the world's population potentially watching. Okay, the whole British Commonwealth. At this event, Prince Charles opened it in lieu of the Queen on her behalf. He oversaw the whole thing. He was there in person at the Alexander Stadium in Birmingham, England.
Now, mind you, brothers and sisters, that they would have us believe, those in the world here, they would have us believe, folks, that the British families are Christian. Let's check out this Christian celebration.
Okay. At that event, a giant Molech bull, 10 meters in height, was rolled out into the center of the stadium to be worshipped and to face a large rebuilt right there in front of everybody, mock Tower of Babel with shards in it. And it begins with a star exploding in our solar system. That's how they introduced this. A lot of CGI initially. They portray a star outside our solar system, or maybe deep in our solar system, blowing up past Saturn.
Those look like the fallen angels who landed on Mount Hermon, doesn't it? Paramount.
And it explodes a bright star like Lucifer. That's what it is, exploding. And its shards fly through our solar system, and they reach Earth. And they land in all the nations of the Commonwealth. And these 72 quote-unquote dreamers, New Agers.
Now, mind you, there's 72 now commonwealths under British rule right now.
Find these shards outside their homes. They retrieve them. The first person to do so is named Stella. She picks it up. It's lit. It's brightly lit. It's like a large quartz crystal. It's bright white, lit as bright white, like an interior light, as it were, bright white. She picks this thing up and she prays to it, whispers.
Y'all see that, folks? You see that? Do you see that? Now they have the women as slaves dragging the bull, showing you that they have accomplished their mission and moving women from up under not only the protection of men, but out of the house into the workforce to become the majority workforce at the very end for the Luciferians. Tricking women into what? Permanent servitude. Under the guise of empowerment. But at the end, white women are dragging the bull. They're working when they don't want to. That's our current state, folks. And at the same time, they have a sister worshiping the beast. Same time.
To it and prays to it. Then she takes us back to her home. All these others, these 72 dreamers, there's 72 of them total, including her, pick their shards up and they take them to their homes. As soon as they do, there are anti-gravity effects in their homes. Things start to float in the air. And then their homes are lifted up.
Now, if y'all notice, folks, each house that accepted the beast is no longer under the rule of God. Symbolically telling people that Satan rules the homes. These are no longer, that's right, folks, traditional homes who once feared God and abstain from evil. All of these homes now have become Luciferian hubs to bring forth Satan's agendas. Now he's bringing those homes back to him.
Off the ground with these people in them, and they float across the Commonwealth from other nations and across the UK.
Hey folks, this was a live event where they did this halftime at an event in Birmingham. 2022, before the Queen died.
Across seas and oceans and lakes and forests and so forth to Birmingham, England, to be over the stadium. All these homes floating over the stadium, and then they land. And the dreamers exit them in front of the audience.
And look at this, y'all.
And they have the shards in hand.
Now you might wonder, where do they get these people who audition for these things, folks? Witch covens, Satan hubs. occult centers, secret societies like Freemasons and others. That's right. They be volunteering for these initiations to Satan. The letters, all of them, they all are a part of this. Tearing up family, destroying the home, only to bring forth Lucifer's agendas.
The bull then comes onto the stadium.
Now look at these women who were empowered. They were tricked into believing that they were empowered to be like a man, not realizing that Satan was tricking them into being servants for the rest of their lives with no one to care for them. And I'm going to be talking about that this Sunday. They were tricked into the workforce where they would be forced to stay in the workforce because there's no man around. They would have to work until they die. Now, Satan wanted to do this because what? Women drastically outnumber men. That's more people in the workforce to finish Satan's program. So these women who was once empowered are now permanent slaves under the beast with no man in sight.
Pulled by slave women, slavish women on chains. The bull, they portray this, rebels and detaches from the chains.
Folks, they're doing this. They're worshiping Satan outright in plain sight. In plain sight. Huh? In plain sight. The bull. What bull? What bull, folks? This bull. Exodus 32. Exodus 32. This bull. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, Exodus 32 and 1, the people gathered themselves together to Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, that man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings and the ears of your wives, of your sons and your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people break off the golden earrings, which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at the hand and fashioned it with a graven tool, after he made it a molten calf. That's your bull, folks, to Moloch. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. These be thy gods. What were the gods' name? Jehovah and or Yahweh. The Tetragrammaton is the bull, folks. The Tetragrammaton is the bull. When you say Yah or Yabulin under modern day Freemasonry, that's Satan at the helm. The bull head, the horn god. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast unto the Lord. Now this feast wasn't unto the God who delivered us out of Egypt. This feast was to the gods our people knew the Egyptians were worshiping in Egypt. In Egypt. All right. And when you go here, let's go there. When you go there, let's go down. And it says, These are the gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. But these were the gods worshipped in Egypt, folks, when you read down. And then when you go into that word, what was the name of the gods in Egypt? You can find this. You can find Yahweh, the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh being worshipped in ancient Egypt, even under the Shashu, who are the Edomites of Mount Seir. Let's get it. One moment. Let's get it. Work with me here, folks. This thing is oh, that's why. Okay, one moment. That's why. One moment. Let's get it here. Let's go here and let's magnify this a little bit. That Lord is who? Jehovah. Or the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh. That's your golden calf, folks. That's not the Most High. That's Satan. That's the bull. And that's why those over in Israel today uphold what? You got it, the bull. They uphold the bull. It's in front of their Wall Street, the commerce system to keep all people in check. But I digress. Let's go back. Let's go back. Because there's something I want to show out of this.
Slavish women on chains. The bull, they portray this, rebels and detaches from the chains. And these female slaves who've been driven like by somebody who's kind of like a Roman, you know, a demon, whatever. He didn't quite look like a Roman.
There they go. They go Karen. Karen was empowered. She thought that she would, you know, become executive over a corporation. She could do anything a man can do. And the devil was like, well, okay, since you can do everything a man does, pull this bull. Pull your family. Do it on your own.
Are freed, right? So now the bull and these women are freed and they pretend they're afraid of each other. And the bull goes on to the center of the stadium and these quote unquote dreamers, these new agers, encircle the thing. But initially, before they do that, Stella comes with her crystal. She and 5 others, there's 6 of them, 6 of the dreamers, apart from these slavish women who are behind now on the bull to either side of it as it's moving, kind of charging actually, into the center of the stadium. Okay, from the track from just outside where it's entered, you know, now detached from its chain, no longer restrained. Okay, charges into the center of the stadium.
Hey, folks, I need y'all to look at this.
Stella wanting to appease this thing.
Folks, I need y'all to look at this, folks. I need y'all to see this. They could have chosen any woman they wanted to, out of all races of people, to be the first to honor Moloch. Yet they chose a black woman. Folks, everything they do is intentional. Because the reality is, Israel is the former of all things. If you can get us to do it, the other people will follow. So if you get the daughter of Zion to comply, all the other women will follow suit. Our sisters are the key in all of this. See? They're the key for Moloch. Why? The reality is she was there in the beginning as Eve. All women, all races of women in this earth, men and women, came out of a black man by the name of Adam and a black woman by the name of Eve. See? So they even showing white women getting tricked into feminism to actually carry their own load and drag and work it only to serve. That's right. The empire. You're the new workhorse on purpose. Y'all go out to all these corporate places and all these restaurants and all these different stores out there, and you'll ask, what's going on? Where are the men, right? This was the plan, to trick women into working until they die.
That they're not killed by this Moloch idol. Goes with this new age crystal, approaches it slowly with these 5 other dreamers. She's got the crystal in her.
Folks, this is what they're dealing with live before the Prince of England at that time, the Queen of England, at a halftime show. How was this entertainment, folks? Now, there's other questions that I might have, and sometimes, you know, my tinfoil Mitri, you know, goes to work. I wonder how many children are being so-called initiated or even being sacrificed while this particular ceremony is going on.
Her left hand, and then she puts her hand up to the nose of the bull, and it bows down so that she can touch its nose.
Lord,
with a crystal in her hand.
look at
She's the only one holding the crystal at that point. And the bull is at least...
She's the key. She's the key. All right, I have to go. I have to go to Patreon, folks. I apologize. I have to go. I have to go to Patreon. They're waiting. They're waiting. Okay. Boy, do we have a Patreon today. Boy, the world is bracing for the next event. It's time for us to come back. It's finally. It's time for men and women everywhere, for the sake of self-preservation, to call a truce. It's time for us to make a truce. It's not about man being over woman and woman not listening to man. We can throw the ball back and forth all we want. When are we going to come in just to an amicable agreement for the sake of self-preservation? It's not about winning. What about, let's just have a truce. The enemy have tricked both sides. And guess what? At the end of it, they needed the energy of our women to accomplish what they're accomplishing. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. Before I go, it's just one thing I need you all to see. Lord have mercy. Just last one. I'm sorry, my loyal Patreon members, but I'm going to tell you, this thing is deep. Fair use. Now we saw, in order for the Moloch was able to bow in agreement with the woman, our sisters praising the bull, right? There's no coincidence that this particular video went viral. When one of our sisters in Africa met so-called King Charles. My only king is Christ, so I would never acknowledge him as my king. Okay? But this in particular went viral.
So as you saw and heard there, yes, that was a black woman somewhere.
You have even sisters saying this have gone too far. So don't think, folks, don't think for one moment that there isn't a correlation between what we just seen when he became King Charles and this.
That moment appeased. And there's a whole backstory to this, and they say things, they announce things to the audience, about peace, love, friendship, yada, yada, conflict resolves, slaves freed, all this kind of stuff.
That's all I can say right now. Brothers and sisters, get ready for Patreon. What are they planning next? That's right. The world is bracing for the next event. And they had that big event before the bull in England in clear sight of what? acknowledging the fallen angels coming to the forefront to lead Satan's agenda, bringing forth the new world order. And a little after that event in Birmingham, the Queen of England died and Prince Charles was pronounced king. What must the world brace themselves for? They released something at that time, that ceremony, that they're not telling you. What will happen for those who fell for the first event? What does that mean for future generations? And how many people will live through what's to come? That and more will be discussed on Patreon in 5 minutes.
Father, in these last days we're going through Jacob's trouble. Your people are suffering worldwide. But Father, we know through your guidance, through your strength, we get endurance at the end. Father, you are our remedy, our remedy, our remedy, our remedy.
When I think about it, I know you're there for me. Through the joy and pain, through the fire and the rain. When I think about it, I know you care for me.
I know you care for me.
Cause words cannot explain.
They can't explain
all the love you show me every day. You've got the remedy.
How you got the remedy? Yeah, and he's supplying all my needs. Never seen a day when my family went hungry. I hire you, I hire he, our number one provider. And I hire keep me calm in the midst of the storm. So what's going on in this earth? No, it don't faze me. I have no worries like a newborn baby. Shia is our shepherd and he keeping sheep in safe. Yeah, and that's a fact in reality. Working on my face so Yeshaya pay my salary. Matthew 6:33 is the motto over everything. If I have faith as a mustard seed, then I can conquer anything. Yeah, so these mountains I'm moving with Yeshaya on my team, and there's no such thing as losing. So keep your head up, man, and don't look down. Keep enduring, cause our time is now. Hey,
when I think about it, I know you're there for me. I know you're there for me. Through the joy and pain, through the fire and the rain. When I think about it, I know you care for me. Cause words cannot explain all the love you show me every day. You've got the Father, I'm in need of your protection. That's why I follow all of your directions. Lead me and guide me through this world as I walk through the valley of deception. Being guided every single day. When the demons come around and just move them out the way. I'm so thankful. Looking at life in different angles now. Love like this is hard to find while seeking the hedge of the Most High. Cause getting the kingdom is what's on my mind. On my mind. Guided by your leadership as they wash us with the scripts. I know that me and my family will be fine. When I think about it, I know you're there for me. I know you're there for me. Through the joy and pain, through the fire and the rain. When I think about it, I know you care for me. Cause words cannot explain all the love you show me every day. You've got the remedy.